You are listening to Chapter 2 Lesson 9 of Form 3 Cameroon History. Cameroon General Education. Narrated by Wacheseh Academy. Social Developments. 1. Christian Missions. Description. The main Christian missions were the Baptist America Presbyterian Mission. They converted many people to Christianity and opened Christian stations, organized doctrinal classes, converted and baptized the natives. They fought against the slave trade and slavery, idol worship, superstition, and human sacrifices. They promoted education, opened many schools, trained pupils and school teachers. They opened health centers, promoted modern agriculture, laid the foundation for technical education. The Basel Mission took upon itself the moral responsibility of seeing that natives were not unjustly deprived of their lands. They also preached against forced labor, poor wages of plantation workers, public flogging, etc. Methods adopted. They encouraged German missionaries to travel to Cameroon. They brought the Basel Mission. They protected the lives and property of the missionaries. They allowed them to run schools, health centers, etc. to promote their work. Positive results. They contributed to the development of towns like Victoria, Douala, etc. with modern infrastructures like church buildings, houses, etc. The activities led to the decline of public flogging, forced labor, the sexual abuse of native women by German traders, etc. They helped the Germans run schools, which reduced illiteracy, run health centers that reduced the death rate. Negative results. The missionaries destroyed the native culture and brought European culture. They took native land without proper compensation. They discouraged respect for natives' tradition. Their preaching of equality of all before God led to disrespect for traditional rulers, female rebellion for their rights. 2. Education. Description. They established schools and professional training centers, such as agricultural schools. The arrival of German teachers, the first was Christaler. The teaching of arithmetic, German, development of some native languages. The missionaries were given grants to open and run schools. Scholarships giving to natives to study in German schools, for example Martin Paul Samba. Training centers were opened especially for agriculture and health. Traditional rulers were obliged to send their subjects to school. Theodore Seitz organized an educational conference in Douala in 1907 which laid down educational standards. Methods adopted. German governors requested the services of German teachers. The first was Christaler. He arrived in Douala in 1887. Suppression of the English language and many German schools were introduced. They encouraged missionaries, especially the Basel Mission, to open schools. Parents who refused to send their children of school age were usually ordered to pay fines. The minimum school age was 5 years, to enable children to trek long distances. Education was made less expensive. The Germans opened training schools such as agricultural schools. They provided jobs for those who completed schools. In December 1907, Governor Seitz convened an important educational conference, and a new standard of education was defined. Positive effects. It created a reservoir of skilled laborers to work especially in the plantations. Job opportunities were provided to school leavers. Increased literacy and reduction of ignorance. The emergency of native educated elites acted as the backbone of nationalism. Helped to raise the level of awareness against German rule. Made communication easier between the Germans and the natives. Negative effects. The development of education led to brutalization against school children. It slowed down village agriculture as many children went to school. It led to the destruction of local culture because the German teachers imposed German and influenced the people to be ashamed of native culture. 3. Health. Description. The establishment of health centers. The use of German medical staff. The training of native health personnel. The Germans embarked on a strong campaign against sleeping sickness, malaria, yellow fever, leprosy. Health officials also carried out vaccination campaigns, improvement of hygiene and sanitation, etc. Methods adopted. Medical doctors were brought. Health centers were opened especially around plantations. German drugs were brought and very cheap. The Germans helped in the training of health personnel. Hard punishment was given to those who refused to take part in hygiene and sanitation exercises. Grants are given to hospitals to make their services cheap. Positive effects: the decline in infant and adult mortality, increase in life expectancy. Cameroonians acquired medical skills. The establishment of health centers close to plantations improved working conditions. Good health led to an increase in productivity. Negative effects: it discouraged local traditional medicine. Natives were forced to depend on German drugs whenever they are sick. The peasants found it difficult to afford German drugs because of the distance and cost.